This is the iPhone X versus the Pixel 2 XL. Full disclaimer, I've purchased both phones with my own money. Now I've used the iPhone X as my main phone though for about a week and a half as I work on my review. So I have a great understanding on both phones, especially the Pixel 2 XL. Now I've been on Android since the Moto Droid and I had an iPhone 4S, and since then I've always had iPhones that I've used extensively. With that being said, I'm going to be as objective as possible in this video, but I am definitely biased to Android. Let's start with price. The iPhone X 64GB starts off at $1,000, while the Pixel 2 XL starts off at $849, or you can opt for the non-XL version starting at $649 with 64GB as well. Now from this video from here on out, I'm going to call the Pixel 2 XL just the Pixel 2, as I'm going to be using the XL for comparison this whole video. In the hand, both phones feel great, with the Pixel 2 XL at 6 inches with a Quad HD resolution, while the iPhone is 5.8 inches of a similar resolution, but not quite Quad HD. I know, when you say screen plus pixel, a lot of people are going to want to know about the screen issues with the Pixel, and I will definitely touch on that in just a little bit. The iPhone has a feel and build that's similar to Samsung, with glass on both sides wedged between metal edges. And the Pixel is a glass and plastic material hybrid. The iPhone definitely feels more premium in the hand, it's easier to hold, but just like Samsung devices, it gets smudged very fast because it's glass. While the Pixel looks pretty good even during heavy usage, only the top really gets smudged because the top is actually glass as well. However, both devices can use D-brand skins. They do sponsor my channel, but I actually use them on my devices too. So you can slap one of these skins on your device and you can change it up a little bit, get a little bit more grip as these phones are a little slippery, and also you can just get rid of those fingerprints completely. Hit the links down below to D-brand your device. On the back of the iPhone, it has 2 lenses, while the Pixel opts for 1 lens. To me, I think the back of the Pixel just looks a little bit busy, and I get why. It's more going on, especially with the Fingerprint Scanner, but on the iPhone, it just looks better, and the back is sort of elegant. It has the single Apple logo, and it just says iPhone. And that's very Apple-like, but it gives it a premium and luxurious look. Now, I've been on the record saying how bad the Pixel 2 XL screen is, and it's still a pretty bad screen, but Google has been making a lot of changes to make things a whole lot better. So without going into super detail, there's a couple things about the Pixel 2 screen that's pretty bad. Number one, the viewing angles. If you start tilting your hand just a little bit, the screen starts to turn blue and has this kind of rainbowy effect. Also, there's a burn-in issue with the screen, and my phone has it too, meaning that the navigation bars at the bottom or even the bar at the top, when you go to a white screen, you can actually still see it there even though it's not there. Now, screens do suffer from burn-in, that's no big deal, but after a week of having the phone, you're seeing this burn-in issue, and that is definitely a problem. Now, Google did extend their warranty to 2 years now, which should make things a little bit easier. Also, another issue that the Pixel had, which has been fixed with updates, is that the screen is muted. Now you have color profiles. You can change the color to make the color look pretty good. And for me, the colors look great now once you put on color mode, and everything is just fine. So thank you for giving us an option, Google. So yes, the Pixel 2 screen is bad, but it's not bad enough for me to just return the device and move on. They fixed a lot of things with it, and it's a lot better than it was before, but still no excuse. The iPhone X also has the same screen tech with Super AMOLED, but I'm not seeing that burn in too. Also, everything looks to be expected with a little bit of blue tinge at some of the angles, but it looks great for the most part. Apple has amped the resolution too to make it more competitive with other Android devices, and it does have that notch. The notch comes into play when viewing things in landscape, and also when you have it on the home screen. But for me, the notch affects me the most when watching video. You have to choose between full screen with the notch or a letterbox mode without a notch, and for me, those are not two good solutions. The notch is definitely there, and you really don't notice it too much unless you go to landscape mode or you're watching a video and the screen turns white and you just see this notch looking back at you. The iPhone X uses Face to Unlock to get into your device, which works best in decent lighting or even low lighting. I found with direct light, it doesn't work too well. So if you go outside and there's a ton of light directly on the phone, it may not pick up your face. After the face to unlock fails a couple times, then you can type in that PIN code to get in, but I would have loved Touch ID as a failsafe. Touch ID never failed for me. You just tap the button and you can get in. Now the Pixel doesn't have Touch ID, but it has a fingerprint scanner on the back, which works just as well. So you just tap your finger on the back and you get right into your device. And I prefer that better than the face to unlock, because you do have to lift your phone up, it unlocks, then you have to swipe up. You give yourself 3 or 4 extra steps compared to just tapping on the back or tapping down here on the actual home button. Now both devices perform very well. There's no surprises here. With the Pixel 2 XL being just a overall faster phone with the operating system. I did a video comparing the two speeds, but next to each other, they're still both very, very fast phones. This is going to be the fastest Android phone you can get, and this is going to be one of the fastest iOS phones you can get. Obviously, an iPad is more powerful, but you're still limited by the software. But regardless, they're both extremely fast. And also, when it comes to apps, when you're in the app, the in-app experience both is just phenomenal. While the iOS actually has some of their apps look a lot better on iOS than Android, it still has that, and it still has some exclusive apps that Android does not have yet. That gap is definitely closing, but I am running into situations where I find I have more games and a couple more apps that are on iOS over Android. So the iPhone doesn't have any buttons. So for some people who may not be comfortable using a phone with no buttons, then the iPhone 10 is definitely not for you, because you do have to learn these gestures. You have to learn how to use the gesture controls to navigate around the phone. I think about someone like my mom who lives and dies by her home button on her iPhone. She has to tap the button to get back to the main screen. She doesn't double tap, she doesn't multitask, nothing like that. She always taps the home button. For her, I can definitely see that being an issue. But if you are someone who's ready for the challenge and you can accept the learning curve, then the iPhone 10 is definitely a great improvement over previous iPhones. So overall, which phone is better? Well, the answer is never that simple. It just depends on a couple things, especially when you're going between different OSs. Which OS is better for you? Which one are you tied to? Are you in the Apple ecosystem? And that's a big one, because getting out of the Apple ecosystem is not really easy, because things like iMessage is one of those things that you have to have an Apple device to use. If you're on Android, you can use Hangouts or Allo, and you can use that on iOS too. So you can bounce from Android to iOS, no problem, but from iOS to Android, it's not that simple. If you're on Android right now, I don't think you're missing anything if you don't get the iPhone, but if you're ready for a change, the iPhone 10 is definitely a great change too. Both cameras are really good, but I find that the Pixel's camera is a little bit better, a little bit more detailed. The front-facing camera, I think the front-facing portrait mode just looks a little bit better. It's more crisp. It defines the foreground and background a little bit better, but the changes and the differences are so minuscule. Either way you go, you would really enjoy each phone. Anyways, guys, my name is Kevin the Tech Ninja. Hope you enjoyed this little quick mini wrap up with the Pixel 2 XL versus the iPhone 10. What do you think? Which phone did you get? Which phone are you interested in? And leave some questions down below. I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja. Give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.